Have you ever had that persistent feeling that you're wasting your life? No matter how busy you keep yourself surrounded by people, tasks, and obligations, deep down, something feels missing. You might try to explain it as anxiety, or perhaps a doctor has called it depression. They may even prescribe a pill to dull the discomfort. But what if I told you that this feeling is not a mistake? What if it's not something to suppress, but a calling? Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in depth psychology, believed that what we call mental disorder is often not pathology. It is the psyche's attempt to heal itself, warning that your life as it is doesn't serve your soul. Perhaps you're living a routine imposed by others, a job that drains you, relationships that exhaust your energy, goals that aren't even yours. Meanwhile, your essence is crying out for freedom, but no one taught you to listen to it. They taught you to silence it, to adapt, to function, so you become ill in silence. While the world applauds your productivity, Jung's wisdom teaches us that healing doesn't come from denial, it comes from diving in. It's not about masking the symptoms, but understanding what they are trying to tell us. Because in Jung's words, neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. You're suffering because you're running away from the pain you need to feel in order to transform your life. And as long as you keep running, the suffering will continue. This video is not for those who want distractions. It's for those who are tired of pretending. It's for those who feel they're sinking but still hold a spark of hope that there's a way out. And there is, but it starts with a brutal decision. Stop running and start listening. Listening to yourself, to the unconscious, and to the pain you've tried to silence with medication, addictions, and routines. Asterisk, you've probably heard someone say, follow your passion. Sounds simple enough, doesn't it? But what if you don't know what your passion is? What if it's buried beneath layers of expectations, fears, and past regrets? Carl Jung believed that we all have a deep, authentic self, what he called the self, but that this self is often hidden behind a mask. It's not that we don't have a purpose. It's that we've been taught not to listen to it. The world tells us what we should want, who we should be, and how we should act. But the truth is, yourself has a different path, one that you've likely buried deep inside because it's too scary to follow. Jung used the term persona to describe the social mask we wear to fit in with the world. This persona is what you present to others, your acceptable self, the one shaped by family, culture, and society. But here's the catch. Your persona is not who you really are. It's the version of yourself that everyone expects you to be. It's the you that fits into the mold. And the longer you wear the mask, the more disconnected you become from your true self. So, what happens when you live according to the persona and not the self? You live a life of shoulds instead of wants. You follow other people's rules, but never question if those rules align with who you really are. You become a stranger to yourself, running on autopilot, doing what is expected rather than what is fulfilling. But the self won't stay hidden forever. The feeling of dissatisfaction you have is a message, a sign that something deeper is missing. The emptiness you feel isn't because you're broken. It's because you're not living according to your true nature. Jung believed that healing comes from embracing parts of ourselves that we've ignored or rejected. When we finally shed the mask, we begin to reconnect with the authentic self that has always been there. It's waiting for us to discover it. And here's the most liberating part. You don't need permission to be yourself. It's already in you. You just need to listen. You need to stop listening to everyone else's voices telling you who to be and start hearing your own. When you finally honor your true self, you stop wasting your life. And for the first time, you begin to live authentically, according to your own values, desires, and purpose. Asterisk, you might think that your purpose is something you need to find. But Carl Jung would tell you that your purpose is not something that exists out there, waiting for you to discover it. It's something that's already within you, waiting for you to uncover it. So, why does it feel like you're searching for something that's missing? Why does it feel like you're constantly running after something, but never quite catching it? The answer is simple. You're looking in the wrong place. You've been told that success means a shiny career, perfect relationship, or a life of constant achievement. But these are just masks. They're distractions that keep you from your real purpose, the one that lies in your authentic self. Jung believed that the path to finding meaning in life comes through individuation, the process of integrating all aspects of yourself, including the parts you may have rejected or ignored. In other words, your true purpose comes when you start accepting all parts of who you are, not just the polished, socially acceptable parts. When you embrace your true self, something incredible happens. You stop chasing external validation. You stop looking for external things to fill the emptiness inside you. Instead, you begin to create from a place of inner fulfillment. And that's where real success comes from. Not from meeting society's expectations, but from living authentically and unapologetically. Jung's work wasn't just about discovering your self-worth. It was about realizing that the only way to live a fulfilled life is to stop hiding from yourself. You need to ask yourself, what am I hiding from? What parts of myself am I afraid to embrace? And once you face those fears, once you begin to integrate the shadow parts of yourself, the parts that feel uncomfortable or unworthy, you start to experience true freedom. Because when you live authentically, you break free from the chains that society, family, or even your own mind have placed on you. True fulfillment isn't about achieving a perfect life. It's about being true to yourself, no matter what. When you start living authentically, the need for validation fades away, and you finally feel at home in your own skin. Asterisk, so what happens when you finally listen to yourself? It's terrifying. When you stop running from your true self, you are forced to confront everything you've been hiding from: the fears, the insecurities, and the parts of you that you've ignored or rejected. But this confrontation is where healing begins. When you finally face those dark, hidden parts of yourself, you start to understand what they're really trying to teach you. Carl Jung believed that the parts of yourself you reject are the parts that hold the greatest potential for growth. The more you avoid them, the more they control you. But when you integrate them, when you accept them as a part of your story, you unlock the power they hold. It's like a puzzle. The more pieces you put together, the clearer the picture becomes, and the picture you see when you face your true self is nothing short of liberating. You no longer feel like a victim to your circumstances. You no longer feel like life is happening to you. You begin to realize that you are the author of your own story. This doesn't mean that everything magically becomes perfect. It doesn't mean that life will suddenly be free of challenges. What it does mean is that you are no longer controlled by external forces. You begin to make choices that align with your true values and desires. This is what it means to live authentically. It's about letting go of the mask you've been wearing and stepping into the light of who you truly are. When you start living authentically, the world changes. You attract the people who truly resonate with you. Start pursuing goals that actually matter to you, not just what society says you should want. And most importantly, you start to experience inner peace. Because when you're aligned with your true self, nothing can shake you. This is the key to a fulfilling life: alignment with your authentic self. So, the question is, are you ready to stop pretending? Are you ready to shed the mask, confront your fears, and step into the life you were always meant to live? So what happens when you start living authentically? You find peace. It's that simple. You see, most people are chasing success, approval, and validation from the outside. They believe that once they achieve these external markers, they'll finally be happy. But here's the truth. Happiness is not something you achieve. It's something you cultivate from within. Carl Jung. believed that the key to true happiness was found in the process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole, integrating all parts of yourself, including the dark and hidden parts. For most people, this process is uncomfortable. It requires facing the parts of yourself that you've avoided, the parts you've denied, and the parts that don't fit society's mold. But here's the paradox. You can't find peace without first embracing your chaos. What do I mean by that? When you start living authentically, you stop trying to fit into a mold that wasn't made for you. You stop worrying about how others perceive you. You stop chasing external markers of success and start focusing on your internal compass. This doesn't mean you abandon your goals or give up on your ambitions. It means you stop letting them define you. You are not your job title. You are not your relationships. You are not your bank account. You are who you choose to be in the moment you embrace that choice. You step into freedom. Jung taught that we must integrate both the light and the dark parts of ourselves. The light is easy to accept, the happy, productive, lovable parts. But the dark, the parts that feel broken, scared, or ashamed, those are the parts that we try to suppress, hide, or deny. But when you accept them, when you stop rejecting the parts of yourself that you've been taught to be ashamed of, something amazing happens. You become whole. You stop feeling torn between who you are and who you think you should be. You stop feeling incomplete, like there's a part of you that's always missing. And that's when true happiness arrives, not from achieving some external goal, but from finally embracing all that you are without apology. The final step 2, freedom, is understanding that you are the creator of your own life. You see, most of us live as if life is something that happens to us. We react to our circumstances instead of taking charge and creating the life we want. But the truth is, you are the architect of your reality. It's not about waiting for the right opportunity. It's not about waiting for the world to change. It's about taking responsibility for your choices, your thoughts, your actions. Carl Jung believed that true freedom comes when we stop being victims of our circumstances and start being the creators of our fate. When we stop blaming others, stop blaming society, and stop blaming the past, we begin to take control of our future. But here's the thing. You can't create your life from a place of fear. You can't create the life you want if you're still afraid of failure, rejection, or what others might think. To create your own life, you have to embrace the unknown. You have to be willing to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone, and to face your fears head on. Because the only way to live a life of purpose is to let go of the need for security and certainty. Jung also talked about the process of individuation, the journey to becoming your true self. Individuation isn't about following someone else's path or fitting into a mold. It's about finding your own unique way, and stepping into the person you were always meant to be. This means letting go of the false beliefs that you've been holding on to for years about who you are, can do, and what's possible for your life. It means recognizing that you are not defined by your past. You are not bound by the limitations others have placed on you. You're not the person you used to be. The moment you decide to let go of these old identities and beliefs, you give yourself permission to create a new reality. You give yourself permission to be who you really are. And that's when the magic happens. When you start living authentically, you begin to attract the things that align with your true self. You stop chasing after things that don't matter, and you start focusing on what truly brings you joy, purpose, and fulfillment. So ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What's holding you back from becoming who you were always meant to be? Is the only thing standing between you and your true self is a story you've been telling yourself about who you are. Once you change that story, everything changes.